Hi, everyone. Welcome to How to Build Positive Relationships with Your Students. I'm Christine Bergeron, and I'm happy that you're here to join me today. So I have been in education for 20 years. I've taught numerous elementary grade levels. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. But most importantly, I'm passionate about teaching. And I believe that the key to success is building positive relationships with your students. So the best teachers are capable of maximizing the learning potential of each student in their class. They understand that the key to unlocking student potential is by developing positive, respectful relationships with their students, beginning on the first day of the school year. Building a trusting relationship with your students can be both challenging and time-consuming, but great teachers become masters in time. They'll tell you that developing solid relationships with your students is paramount in fostering academic success. But it is essential that you earn your students' trust early on in the year. A trusting classroom with mutual respect is a thriving classroom complete with active, engaging learning opportunities. So here are some strategies that you can try. First of all, provide structure. Most kids respond positively to having structure in the classroom. It makes them feel safe and it leads to increased learning. Teachers who lack structure lose valuable instructional time and often don't gain the respect of their students. It's essential that you set the tone early by establishing clear expectations and practicing those class procedures. It's equally critical that students see you follow through when boundaries are overstepped. Finally, a structured classroom is one with minimal downtime. Each day should be loaded with engaging learning activities with little or no downtime. You also want to make sure that you teach with enthusiasm. Students will respond positively when a teacher is enthusiastic and passionate about the content that she's teaching. Excitement is contagious. When a teacher introduces new content enthusiastically, students will buy in. They'll get just as excited as the teacher, and that translates to increased learning. Exuberance will rub off on the students in your classroom when you are passionate about the content that you teach. If you're not excited, why should your students be excited? Have a positive attitude. So everyone has terrible days, including teachers, and everyone goes through personal trials that can be difficult to handle. But it's essential that your personal issues do not interfere with your ability to teach. Teachers should approach their class each day with a positive attitude. If the teacher's positive, the students will generally be positive too. No one likes to be around someone that's always negative. Students in time will resent a teacher who's always negative. However, they will run through a wall for a teacher who's positive and continuously offering praise. Something that you also might want to do is try to add some humor into your lessons. So teaching and learning should not be boring. Most people love to laugh. So teachers should try to incorporate humor into their daily lessons. This may involve sharing an appropriate joke related to the content that you're teaching. It may be getting into character or donning a silly costume. It may be laughing at yourself when you make a silly mistake. So humor comes in all forms and students will respond to it. So they will enjoy coming to your class because they love to laugh and learn. So the next thing that you can do is make learning fun. Learning should be fun and exciting. Nobody wants to spend time in a classroom where there's lecturing and note-taking. Students love creative, engaging lessons that grab their attention and allow them to take the ownership of their learning. Students enjoy hands-on, kinesthetic learning, where they can learn by doing. And they are often enthusiastic about technology-based lessons that are both active and visual. Use your student interest to your advantage. So every student has a passion for something. Teachers should use these interests and passions to their advantage by incorporating them into their lessons. Student surveys are a fantastic way to measure those interests. Once you know what your class is interested in, you can find creative ways to integrate it into your lessons. So if you see that you'll take the time, you will definitely see increased participation, higher involvement, and overall an increase in learning. Try to add some storytelling into your lessons. Everyone loves a compelling story. Stories allow students to make real-life connections to concepts that they're learning. So you can tell stories to introduce or reinforce concepts, and that will bring those concepts to life. It keeps students interested in their learning, and it's especially powerful when you can tell a personal story related to a concept being taught. A good story will allow students to make connections that they may not have made otherwise. Okay, the next thing that you might want to do is show an interest in their lives. Your students have lives away from the classroom. Talk to them about their interest in extracurricular activities that they participate in. Take an interest in their interests, even if you don't share the same passion. And finally, be considerate when assigning homework. So think about those extracurricular activities occurring on that particular day and try not to overburden your students. Treat your students with respect. That is very important. So respect goes both ways. Your students will respect you, will never respect you if you do not respect them. You should never yell, use sarcasm, single a student out, or attempt to embarrass them. Those things will lead to a loss of respect from the entire class. Teachers should handle situations professionally. So you should deal with problems individually in a respectful, yet direct and authoritative manner. Teachers must treat each student the same. You cannot play favorites. The same set of rules must apply to all your students. It is also vital that a teacher is fair and consistent when dealing with students. And finally, go that extra mile. And that way you will ensure that they'll be successful. So now you may be thinking, okay, I have all these strategies. Where do I go from here, right? So a couple simple things that you can do. First of all, really try to get to know your students the first day. And the biggest thing you can do is just ask questions and talk to them. And one effective way that really works well is to start each class with a circle and a question. So you have a handout, and on your handout, I gave you some examples that you could do to use for that. So you could start by arranging your chairs in a circle, or the students can sit on the floor in a circle. And then you want to use a talking piece. So it can be just a little ball or any sort of little stuffed animal or something like that. And you are going to pass that around, and no one's allowed to talk except the person that has the talking piece. And that way everyone is getting their own turn to share that special part of them. And then you also want to make sure that you start with low risk questions. So some examples would be like, what makes you happy? What's your favorite food? Tell something fun that you did last weekend, or what you do well. So that is an easy way to get to know students and build those relationships. Finally, when you're in class with your students, you always want to make sure that you're positive, passionate, you laugh, and you have fun. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a great school year.